I know our audience have just made some very exciting tours and enjoyed a sneak peek at everything we have to offer in this new expansion that we have at the Disney Adventure World. So we are here for about 30 to 40 minutes. Thank you for being there. I will start the discussion, and if we have the time at the end of this discussion, I know that we'll be more than happy to answer a few questions from audience today. Okay. So, and I also introduced you before you arrived, so I'm not revealing what are your roles, but they really know about it. Maybe we start with Michelle, because we are here in this beautiful World of Frozen, but World of Frozen is only part of a global expansion. And so what was the challenge of reinventing a complete theme park that was already existing?
Yeah, so we had a great opportunity here to create something that I think is unique to Disneyland Paris. We have, of course, two parks. We have what I consider the most beautiful castle park that we ever designed. And next to that, we had a much smaller effort. And now we're finally sort of like walking into the next chapter and building on this park and creating something that finally I think can sort of like stand on its own legs and sort of like, compete maybe is a Dutch word. We are building this expansion really to expand on further on it. But it was a wonderful opportunity to sort of create new areas, new worlds where we partly sort of thought about the European audience. So creating spaces that are green, that are lush, that there's a breathing space and decompression spaces in there, and you see that primarily in the Adventure Way. It has architecture and elements that are inspired by our films, but nothing really takes you into, you're not stepping into the worlds of these films in this area. We try to create an area of its own, so like a place, a sense of place of its own, really inspired by sort of like old fairs. There's architecture in there, and it's called eclecticism. It's was sort of an architectural movement, early 1900s, where they sort of experimented with styles, and you can see that in the buildings that we designed, that I think give it a really unique styling. Every building and facility in that part of the park has something that relates to another building in the expansion. It can be the same roof tiles that have the same color that another facility uses, or it can be the same color paint, or it can be the same style windows. So with that, we really tried to create a nice, comfortable place for you to sort of transition then into the area where we'll go into the immersive worlds, which is really the new concept of the park, right? To bring you to these immersive worlds. Frozen, of course, the first one, and it's beautifully located on the other side of the lake. And you have a unique view on this World of Frozen compared to some of the others, because this one really is across an enormous open space filled with water, so you have these beautiful reflections. But I really love how you see sort of the panoramic view and quality of World of Frozen here. It builds on to the North Mountain and sort of builds up again on the other side with the castle and then the little lighthouse. Just really aesthetically pleasing to watch, I think. So, long story short is that we are trying to really set up this park for the future, and we're seeing sort of the first results of that.
And you just talked about World of Frozen, so this is your fourth project related to Frozen.
Yes.
Could you briefly tell the audience like how it all began and how it led to World of Frozen here in Paris?
So when World of Frozen in Paris opens, I will have spent 13 years of my career on Frozen projects continuously. And I could never have imagined when I first proposed to do something with that film in our park that it would lead to this enormous amount of work and such a long period of my career. But it has been an amazing journey, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. But I could just, I could not have imagined it. Of course, also a large part because the movie was such a great success. I just really sort of like catapulted it into all kinds of other projects that I then got on my plate. So it was really interesting to, it started with the one in Florida at Cobb Miller Pavilion. There's, by the way, like a little painting I did, it's on the wall there, where I paid homage to the Royal Summer House, which is the Norwegian-inspired house that I created there with a meet and greet inside. So I put like a painting here in the QSR, in this restaurant. QSR is a technical term, I guess, that I should not use, but it's a construction term. But this wonderful restaurant here, to sort of pay homage to that first project. But yeah, then I had all these other Frozen projects that were put on my plate, and it was just a wonderful journey. Of course, World of Frozen in Hong Kong was the latest one that I worked on Tokyo as well, but I did not see that project through to the very end. World of Frozen in Hong Kong I did, and then this one here. And what's really nice is that they all have a unique element to them, right? The one in Tokyo, of course, how it's sort of situated there within the construct of these other themed areas, completely different concept for the attraction, of course. And then Hong Kong, where I really consciously played with the mountains behind the park. In my opinion, the most beautiful located Disney resort on the planet is there. So we had to design a land that really acknowledges the landscape behind it. And then for this one, of course, we don't have the mountains, the Lantern Mountains here, but what we do have here in Paris, which I think is unique in its own right, is what I did here is, first of all, the little lighthouse that you see in the land. In Hong Kong, that lighthouse is all the way to where the village is. And I moved it far out and created sort of like a viewing platform from which you can enjoy the land sort of from an elevated perspective. We have to go all the way up to 4.5 meters to get over a bridge. And the bridge is over a canal, and the canal is used to get the barges in and out the lake for the nighttime show. But I took that height difference to my advantage and create sort of like more of a elevated, almost like looking downwards upon the land, versus Hong Kong where your eye is sort of directed upwards because of the mountains. So those are things that were really fun to play with. Also here in Paris we have a meet and greet in the castle that we did not have in Hong Kong, and to kind of like place that in there and add some of the buildings to the land was really fun to sort of design these changes. So when you really study the two, especially Hong Kong and Paris, it's interesting to see where the changes are. There's similarities, but there's also a lot of things that are different.
Thank you. And even if storytelling comes always first at Walt Disney Imagineering, it also comes to life thanks to technology. And we have more than 30 animated figures in the Frozen Ever After attraction. And today we unveiled a new surprising robotic character for our guests, new generation of robotic character, which is an amazing Olaf. And maybe Carl, you can tell us a bit more about it. Can you tell us how this technology is advancing storytelling and immersive experience for our guests, especially here in the world of Frozen?
Absolutely. Thanks everybody for being here, appreciate it, and thank you for having me. We have a rich history when it comes to robotic characters across many of our properties. And it started with Lucky the Dinosaur, our first electronically actuated character. And we've had now our most recent characters with 3DX droids. And we took so much time to really hand animate each of those characters kind of throughout our history. And that took a lot of time and a lot of effort to be able to do that. But what's really happened, really in the last 18 months or 2 years or so, has been a branch of artificial intelligence that we call reinforcement learning. And reinforcement learning is the ability to take a robot and bring it into simulation, and like a toddler learns, we use reward systems to train the robot in simulation. And what it does is it really allows us to ensure that the artist's intent, the animation that was created for that robot, to be almost perfectly executed in terms of what actually then shows up in the physical world. And so that has allowed us as Imagineering and within research and development to bring these robots to our guests faster than ever. So now what used to take years to develop, now we can deliver day and date in mere months in the past. And so it's really through a partnership also recently with NVIDIA that we've been able to use their hardware chips to ensure that we've got the latest and greatest technology inside our robots, but it's also their software that allows us to focus our time and effort on the precision that is Olaf and all of the unique mannerisms that that character has, and bring and focus that from a creative perspective. And so now we're able to deliver these robots faster than ever, in more places than ever, and do so with that creative precision that the artist had intended from the beginning. So that's been a huge unlock for us overall from a research and development perspective.
Thanks. And who are the teams involved? Like, how do you collaborate between, especially for Olaf, between your teams and Disneyland Paris teams, or even the studios?
Sure. So first, I think it starts with both from a creative perspective, working with Michelle and the Imagineering team here in Paris, to also the park president, Natasha. There's just a hunger to be innovative and to drive the best experience possible here in Paris, and it's given us a tremendous amount of freedom to bring those characters to life. And actually work very closely with our partners within Disney Live Entertainment also as well, who are being very careful and clear about what Olaf needs to, how he needs to perform inside the park. And that could be everything from a character meet and greet to part of a live entertainment show, all here. And so we're working with every team to ensure that we bring the most carefully crafted character to life for the needs of the site and the park here at Disneyland Paris.
Thanks. I can't wait to really see more of Olaf when the park is transformed and rebranded with our guests. It will be amazing. I have a question for Michelle. Going down a bit further towards Adventure Way, because all of Frozen, it's very everybody knows about it, but Adventure Way is something special. Could you tell us a bit about the approach about this area, and also there is a brand new soundtrack for this place, which is something unique for DLP since almost the start of the launch of the first park in 1982. Can you tell us more about what you did there with the teams?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but I really wanted to create a comfortable, romantic, nostalgic place that could form a function as a sort of transition area from the original park into the new immersive worlds. We have some references to film there. Of course, we have our Tangled Upon Spin, and it has the lanterns from the Lantern Festival and the beautiful boats. And it reminds you of, but it's not an exact implementation of the film in the park. It's inspired by the Up-inspired attraction that we announced. Will take exactly the same aesthetic design route, so there will be a lot of references to Up, the film, and the characters, but it will be a unique design that really complements the rest of the story that we try to tell in this area, which is all about this beautiful park setting, so like a timeless area. And for this area, I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we have a beautiful piece of music that we write for this area that can sort of accompany you musically through the area. And when I then started to think about, what could that be? I thought, wouldn't it also be nice if we have we give it a French touch and we ask a French composer. So I kind of went through my soundtrack collection. I love film music, and went through my soundtrack collection of French composers, and there's a French composer called Philippe Bombi, and he does beautiful music. But one of the things that I like so much about his music is, although he's French, his music has a very Hollywood-esque quality. Because one thing I don't want is that the music will extend on its own in a way that doesn't contribute to the Disney experience. We are here at Disney, so it needs to be Disney music. But it is going to be a completely new theme. It's not based on any of our movies. So I thought he was the right person to ask. We contacted him, and we had a great meeting here in the park, and he was very honored to be thought of as a composer and contribute to the project. And I don't know if you guys heard it play as you walk through the area, but I just I'm so happy with it. It's, you know, there were 3 words that I gave him as he started writing the music. One was a sense of horizon. To hear in the music, so like this sensibility with that there's a horizon, this like traveling to faraway places. Then a sense of nostalgia also, is the area that it plays in is very classical. And then so like a light-hearted adventure. So those 3, he has like an A theme and a B theme, and these things were transported into or translated into the music, and it's just really comfortable to listen at. It's 45 minutes of music, new music, and I walk through that area, and the music is like guiding you through it, and it really adds like an emotional, I think, touch to the area that I think and hope people will enjoy. I certainly do. So
and I think I hear a beautiful piano rendition of the theme in the
he did a special version for the Regal View Restaurant and Lounge, where we have the lounge area and the restaurant. So we did. We were already working on the music for the restaurant, and there I said like, well, we need to kind of have a Debussy kind of flavor for the music. So all the Disney themes that you hear in there are sort of inspired by that, and old French composers, historic French composers. And then Philippe did a version for the restaurant. So in the bar, you will hear just the piano version, and as you walk into the restaurant, it's accompanied by an orchestra. So again, like really beautiful, really elegant, and just pleasant to listen to. It's to me, it's like music that you can listen to over and over and over again, and it doesn't really, it just gets better the more you hear of it. Yeah.
Great.
And again, also to your point, not something you get to do often, because most of the time, we use music that we inherit from our films. But now we had an opportunity actually to do a new theme, which is it's not something you get to do often, so quite unique.
Thank you. Next question is for Kai. So we talked about technology, obviously. It's transforming creative work so fast, especially for the Imagineers. What's been the biggest evolution for you in this field, and how do you see its future?
I mean, I think, again, the opportunity to use a branch of artificial intelligence and reinforcement learning has allowed us to move faster than ever from a robotics perspective. Some of the other things that we're really excited about is a partnership that we have with Epic Games, and we use the Unreal Engine, which is a creative tool that our studio uses to produce Disney Plus shows like The Mandalorian. We're using that same platform with an update to Smuggler's Run that we're doing in both Anaheim and in Orlando. But that technology now allows us to personalize that experience for people even more than we have in the past. And the ability to bring the highest quality graphics to our guests, brings that level of immersion to unlike anything we've ever done before. So that pace of change is happening kind of across all of our partners, across all of our tools, so that we can do more to build those experiences to follow right when the movies or the Disney Plus shows launch. It used to be we'd wait years to see new content come into the park, and now more than ever, partnering across the world to make that happen faster.
Exciting.
It's very exciting.
It's really my final question, and a kind of obvious question for both of you, and then maybe the audience will have a few of their own. What are you looking forward the most when we unveil Disney Adventure World to the public next spring? What are you looking for the most, be it an experience, an attraction, a location, to see after when the expansion's open?
Well, Olaf, of course, which will be available when we launch here in the springtime next year. It's an exciting time to be able to see that work come to fruition. I think in many cases in the past, we've maybe developed a character, we've put it on stage, but it has never really ended up in front of our guests. And now we've got this incredible commitment to make sure that everything we're doing from an R&D perspective is actually making its way there. And then the last thing, of course, which is not Olaf, but I'm really excited about that Great Lake out there, that where you're going to have incredible nighttime spectaculars and really tell incredible stories with the latest technology that'll be available when you open next year. It's exciting.
Michelle?
There's so many things.
How do you pick your favorite?
I don't know how you pick your favorite. And by the way, like that Olaf walking is just so incredible. I remember the first time I saw it in Zurich at the R&D offices that we have there, and I was not even really looking like what it looks like today, but it was just so magical to see him for the first time really come to life. And when you see him now in the land, like walking around, it's like almost literally we just grabbed him from out of the screen and placed him in this land, and then of course the land reflects so like Arendelle itself. So it's just so beautiful to congrats on this great accomplishment. What I look forward to most, there's many things I could choose from, but maybe two things. One is probably what will the guest behavior be in this sort of new version of the park. The park originally was very small, and that was sort of referred to the V shape that the park was. You came in the center, the bottom of the V, and you could go left, right, and you'd sort of walk this V shape all day long. Now there's so much more to see and do, but also just to ways to approach things. You can enter Toy Story Playland from a completely different angle now, and there's new sight lines. So it's sort of how will guests enjoy the new version of the park and what is touching them the most, and then that will I look forward to sort of the emotional things I try to incorporate in the project, like the music in the LA, or the scenic quality of all the Frozen that can be enjoyed from many angles. Like just looking forward to see guests really enjoy that. I can fully imagine a warm late spring nights, the sun sets, the sky is fully red, and you see all the Frozen or the other side of the park, and the lights go on. That is just going to be such a magical moment, and a sense of, I think, sort of an emotional experience in the park that we didn't have before in our second gate, right? Now when it gets dark and there's an actual nighttime experience in this park that's pretty to look at, is something I look forward to seeing guests enjoy.
Thank you so much. I think we have around 10 minutes for a few questions, so happy to take them.
What drew you to the architectural styles that you eventually ended up using on Adventure Way?
So I've explored various styles for the design of the different facilities. They're not all quite the same, but like I said, they also mimic something from a different building. The one that it started with was the Regal View. It's obviously the biggest building in that area, so we had to figure out what that looked like. And originally I had a completely different design for it. For various reasons, we went a different route. But when I kind of figured out some elements, design elements. I did like a little elevation of it where I sort of established some design rules, if you will, for the design. And when I was happy with that, then I kind of placed that on top of other areas of the park, again with the aim that all these things kind of speak to each other. And although Tangled does not exactly look the same as the Regal View, it does have some elements that it's mimicking. Same for some other buildings. So yeah, I mean, my design process can be quite organic. You know, my history isn't like drawing, and so I start sketching, and so at some point, you know, I get inspired by what I see in the outside world. I love historical architecture, so eventually it ended up being this. But yeah, when I started to get like comfortable with a sketch that I did, like, okay, well, this could work. Then I tried to overlay that on the other facilities.
How does World Premiere speak to Adventure Way and the worlds beyond? What is the connective tissue there?
So obviously we have elements that are of the original park. There's the main entry, which looks like the studio. We are keeping the water tower. You know, the conceit now, of course, is a little different. The park is no longer completely based on the magic of movie making, but we are keeping some of the original park. So we try to kind of get a little bit of a mixture of elements. You can get into the park. It's a studio. That's where it all originates from. Then you go into World Premiere. We say it's a Hollywood street, and there's a world premiere party going through the theater, and you end up in a kind of like a Times Square type area, where we have all our sort of like the majority of our theatrical attractions in the park. And this part of the park also allow us to be very current with offerings. You know, when new films come out, we can sort of display them there. Yeah, and then go into the immersive worlds where you sort of step into the worlds that you know and love from the films. The center of the park took a little bit of a different route with a much more park-like setting, a little bit more of a European flair, which I think will be very for the European market. They will really, I think, what's the English word? They will really enjoy that area much, with all the trees and the spaciousness. So I really tried to step away a little bit from the Hollywood architecture for this area, and then create a transition point. So I think they can complement each other now that the park is no longer solely taking the magic of movie making as the core principle of every experience. So that's the idea behind it.
Thank you.
Will Olaf have the premiere here in Paris, or is Olaf also visible in the other parts in the next month?
So the next place that Olaf will make an appearance is in Hong Kong, and then we'll be home here when we open in the spring. Those are the two places you'll see Olaf.
Traditionally, WDI's R&D department has been very secretive, but recently through things like, we call it Imagineering, and just different expos you've been at, you've really opened up the door, and we've seen some of your projects iterate through like BDX storage, begetting other projects. Sure. What's it been like to have that sort of reaction to your projects much earlier than you would have necessarily had in times past?
Yeah, I mean, I think the benefit that we've had by announcing these projects earlier is it's been a great way to attract talent to an incredibly competitive landscape. So now we're able to get some of the best robotics scientists in the world, the ability to tap into some of the computer scientists, creative technologists that bring these projects to life. Exposing that Disney really truly is a technology company has changed perspective kind of within the industry. And so that's been a huge benefit to being more open about these things. And additionally, you know, it also then puts the right amount of pressure to ensure that we're delivering these things to our guests. These are not just projects that are hidden behind, but we're really staking a claim to say this is how our characters are going to now show up, and leveraging the latest technology and tools to make that happen.
Maybe last question.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations. The visit today was amazing. So I noticed that the colors around the lake are changing depending where you are. So my question, so for example, brownish for Lion King, purplish for Walt of Frozen. Now I have a tricky question. You place some green colors with beautifully shaped lampposts with a quite unique design. Does this suggest maybe a further expansion inside of the park?
Well, you have a keen eye that the lampposts in front of the to be Lion King area are a little inspired by let's call it the savannah, and they we did put so like a pattern in there that reflects the African sensibility. So I do like that you have a keen eye there. So, and in Frozen also we made all their handrails and the lampposts complementary to the Frozen land, which means that they're all painted black. So we did that consciously too. The lampposts that you are referring to are just a beautiful design of a wonderful garden area that for now is independent on its own. So there, you know, of course, you guys see a beautiful open area, and like I said, this expansion is built for the future. But yeah, these lampposts are just an independent design for now, and who knows in the future what we'll do with it.